All right, happy Sunday, day 6. Oh my gosh, day 6. It's almost been a whole week of the 21 Day Yoga Challenge. I actually have somebody to help me today, my fabulous husband, Jason. Yay! So he's going to demonstrate, and I'll walk you through. I've had requests for basic poses. So we're not going to flow today, we're just going to walk through some basic poses. My daughter's out for a walk. We keep this real and raw. So my daughter's out for a walk. You'll hear her coming in. She's probably going to say, "What are you doing?" Whatever. That's just how it goes. That's how yoga at home goes. It's all good. So, we're gonna have Jason start in my favorite pose where I always love to start, and that's child's pose. And I just want to talk you through a couple of options in each of these poses that you can use. So, if your forehead does not ground down comfortably, so his big toes are together, his knees are out wide, you can also bring your knees in together so that you're, maybe if you've got like a tummy ache, this can help. It is a little bit more difficult to breathe, but it can help you feel your breath into your back. It can help compress your abdomen a little bit. So that's one way to do it. Or you can bring your knees out wide, as he was doing before. Arms come forward, and if your head doesn't rest somewhere, you can stack your fists, as he's doing. Or you can take a block or a blanket, anything you have around your house, anything. But just let your head rest somewhere, and you're looking to feel everything on the ground. Let this be a place where you can check in and just feel what's real. This is the yoga magic. You don't have to be flexible, you don't have to be strong. You are strong, but I know in our minds we think we're not strong, or we're not flexible enough, or we're not enough in some way. You don't have to be. This, if it's comfortable for you, is a place to ground down and literally just feel what is real. What is real right now is that Jason is just laying in our living room and he's feeling the floor underneath him, and that's it. He's getting a little length in his spine. He volunteered to volunteer today so that he can benefit from a little bit of adjustment too. So if you're ever in a class and somebody does this to you, it is not a correction like, "Oh, your hips should be lower." No. It's meant to be something good. It's meant to feel like a little extra stretching, a little extra assistance. It's just assistance. That's all it is, right? So get yourself to a class. This is my get yourself to a class ad, wherever you're at. The benefits of going to a class are breathe with the group, but also maybe you get a little bit of assisting because it's awesome. Awesome. So that's child's pose. Take it anytime. This is like, it's like a version of the fetal position, right? When you are feeling overwhelmed, the world is swirling around, get low, get grounded, connect to what's real. Because half of what's going on in your mind is not real. 3/4 of what's going on in your mind is not real, at least in my mind. I speak from what I struggle with. So, all right, so that's child's pose. From here, we'll transition into downward facing dog. And I know that we've got some in our group with wrist issues where this is probably not going to be an ideal pose. We'll show you how to do it up against the wall. So for down dog, it really starts with your hands. So you want your hands to be all the way down on the ground. Your palms really rooting down as much as you can, like you're literally making roots into the ground. And you're pressing forward, like you're trying to press the mat, stretch it from between your feet to your hands. And that helps you find some length in your spine because your hips are going up and back towards the back of the room. Now if your hamstrings feel tight, if they're just genetically short, if that's just how you're built, it's gonna limit this, and you just bend your knees. Just bend your knees. Use that to bring some weight back into your legs because they're stronger than your shoulders. Now this is not a pose that you're gonna learn in one time on the mat for sure, where you're gonna find this lengthening in your spine that you're looking for. You're not gonna find it instantaneously, but stick with it because once you find it, you're like, "Oh my gosh, where have you been all my life?" It's amazing. So your heels, a lot of times people think your heels have to get to the ground. They're moving towards the ground. Your thighs are moving towards the back of the room, but your knees don't have to be straight. Your thighs aren't obviously going to touch the back of the room. It's just the direction they're moving in, and your heels are just moving towards the floor to stretch the back of your legs. If they got to the floor, there's no stretch, right? So they may get there naturally, and then you got to stretch in a different way. So no rules on that. Okay. So now walk your hands back to your feet, and walk his hands back to his feet. One way to get out of this pose, you can always just drop your knees back to the floor as well for child's pose and just stand back up. Like I said, we're not going to flow, but just showing you how you can get out of this. Let's take a forward fold before we go into anything else. So one of my favorites, this is another like absolute go-to when the world is swirling. It's like the absolute, for those in the Spirit Junkie class, we talk a lot about surrender, right? This is a surrender pose. Not a giving up, because your legs are still working, they're supporting you. But in order to feel traction in your spine, in order to find length in your spine, you want to surrender. Feel the weight of your head. Okay, feel the weight of your cheeks, feel the weight of your arms, maybe grab opposite elbows. Again, knees, keep them bent. They don't have to be straight. Don't let your hamstrings inhibit this pose. Always keep them bent. You can rest your ribs right on your thighs if you want to. You can sway left to right. Go with what feels good, but surrender. Find the surrender and know that it's not a giving up. This is a pose that reminds you of this meaning, this concept. You aren't giving up. You are accepting. You are opening up to something bigger. You are letting gravity, you can't see it, you feel it, letting gravity find some length in your spine. Okay, so stand up. Let's do some warrior poses. So I want to show you the difference between, we've had in the videos before, crescent lunge and warrior one. I've talked a little bit about that, so we'll do the warrior poses. So starting with warrior one, which I don't often actually do in my own practice because it's a little wonky on my back knee, but it's a lunge into your, let's start with your right leg. So step your right leg forward. You want your knee to be no more further than over your ankle. So if you are kind of leaning forward, like way over, like your chest is like you're gonna take off, give yourself more space. So he's starting here in crescent lunge. So crescent lunge has his heel lifted here. And this is in contrast to warrior two, it's a closed hip pose. So this left hip is pulling forward and the right hip is pulling back. All right, and so you're gonna bend into this, and this is so super personal. Bend into your right knee as much as you can without bending your left. Find your steady base, and then reach out, find lightness through your fingers, spread them wide. Let your shoulders sink down away from your ears. Feel your belly button pull in towards your spine. And then just to show you the difference between this and warrior one, I know you don't like this, Jason, so don't keep your hair long. But that just brings this left foot down at an angle, like a 45-degree angle. But the trick here, and where it sometimes gets tricky for your knee, is that you're still trying to bring this left hip forward and the right hip back. So if that feels tricky in your knee, or you don't feel like you can lunge, or you're not getting the full impact of the pose, don't take it. You can always substitute in crescent lunge. I almost always do, almost always do. So that's warrior one, crescent lunge, pretty interchangeable. And then let's do warrior two. So your legs are very similar. To the other side.
Yes.
He's evening out here. So another thing as he evens out to remember, this is why I love not practicing with mirrors, because each side is going to be completely different. You're not completely symmetrical. Think about, I think we're mostly ladies, okay? Your bag. I don't know about your bag, but my bag is like pretty much everything I own. It's heavy, and I can only, I'm so conditioned to carry it on one shoulder, I can't even carry it on the other shoulder. Well, that of course carries through the whole body, right? So if one shoulder is that much stronger, one hip, you know, it just goes through the whole body. So let the poses be different. So warrior two here now, base looks similar. Obviously he's in his left knee instead of his right. But again, knees not coming past the ankle, but now it's open. So if you were up against the wall, both butt cheeks up against the wall, both shoulders would be up against the wall. And this is what we did day one. You can do this, go up against the wall and lunge into this. Gives you a little bit of support. If you feel like this is a little bit of balance issue. As far as where your feet are aligned, now you've got your front foot, your front heel is in line with the middle of your back foot. And this edge right here, this outer edge of your right foot, this is your anchor. Really root down right here. Feel like this arm is pulling back a little bit more, keeps your shoulders right over your hips, and it gives you a little bit of freedom to lunge into this knee. And this knee's moving out towards the pinky edge of the foot, that gives you the opening. So that's warrior two, you're opening across your chest as your shoulder blades come together here. So you anchor your shoulders here, reach out through your fingers, feel the power. Warrior two, be a warrior. So how deep this is, right? I mean, it can be, you can come out a little bit, right? Your knee, you know, you don't have to be that wide. It doesn't have to look like anything. The fundamentals are you're lunging into your front knee, you're anchoring through your back foot, you're opening across your hips, you're reaching through your arms. Those are the fundamentals. It doesn't have to look like anything. All right, you gonna switch legs again?
Yes.
Okay, So now let's do side angle, which would also be bent into that front knee, and we sometimes group these together in a flow. So side angle pose, and the names of these don't mean anything, and I tried to cue them based on what you're looking for as opposed to calling them by name, but if you go to a class or you take another, something online, I just want you to be able to know what is what. So this is side angle pose. I'd love to tell you the Sanskrit, but you know what? I don't know it, and it doesn't matter. So side angle pose is the same legs, the same foundation as warrior two, but now you're finding some place for your right arm to rest, and it could be forearm on your knee, it can be your right hand to a block, inside or outside of your leg. I like outside because you want to open here, shoulder blade on your back, chest opens, your hands really energize. Get a little traction here, a little leverage, but same through your legs. And then sometimes we'll take this left hand or the top hand, reach it over towards the front of the room, and then you're still anchoring here, finding all kinds of space all along the left side of your body. Like, see if you can find space in your ribs right here, those muscles right here. Using your own muscles to find strength here. So this is side angle. Do you want to switch legs again?
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go into triangle pose and see the difference here. So triangle pose, again, open legs, open hips, but now instead of your front leg being bent, you're gonna straighten through the front leg. Now, not locked. You won't actually be able to bring energy up through your front foot if it's locked. So there's still a little bit of a bend. Like you're pulling this right hip and using this, like pushing through your right foot, pulling up through your right hip, and that pushes your left hip back. And then reach forward with your right hand, like you could touch the wall in front of you or whatever's in front of you. We're looking at the bees on our beautiful flowers out here. Touch the bees, don't touch the bees, I know you don't want to. And then just rotate your arms like arms on a clock. So, the key here is that just like in Warrior 2, both buns on the wall, both buns would still be on the wall here. Both shoulder blades would still be on the wall here. So, if there's nothing magical about getting this right hand to the floor, whether it's on a block or not, you can bring this up onto your shin, you can bring it up onto your thigh. If your left shoulder starts to roll forward, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still lengthening through your legs, drawing up through your legs like you're putting on a pair of jeans that just came out of the washing machine. Finding length from your hips to your heart, length across your arms, length in your neck. You can look up towards your left thumb if that feels good, or whatever hand's in the air. You can look down towards your foot. Doesn't matter. Listen to your neck. Listen to what works for your neck. All right, you can come onto this now with your legs. We just practiced too, that's why this video is late, so sorry. All right, so those are the warriors. We did a little balancing. I'll do more of this basic poses, but I want to show you one more go-to favorite Sunday. Do this today before you go to bed. Let's go down onto the floor and just show you legs up the wall, waterfall, Viparita Karani, L pose. These are all names for the same thing. So you're gonna take a block underneath your sacrum, the very base of your spine. Use it as some leverage, some counterbalance. This is not meant to be a hidden core exercise. It's a counterbalance that your feet just float. Again, these aren't straight, they don't have to be, your legs are not straight, feet don't have to be flexed, they're just floating, and it's just using gravity for good, right? Gravity pulls us down in this direction all day, right? It pulls blood down into our feet, into our lower extremities. And we've got a good circulatory system to bring it back, but here it's a lot faster. You're letting that blood come back to your heart, so keep breathing really deep when you're in this pose. Fill your blood up with really rich oxygen. You can do this, so legs up the wall was one of the names. Go up to a wall, get your butt as close to the wall as you can. Maybe put it on a pillow. Put something over your eyes. Just chill out, put on some nice music. So fabulous before bed. So fabulous. Really helpful for headaches or migraines. Really, really fabulous pose. And then to get out of it, you just bring your knees into your chest. Bring one foot down to the floor at a time. Press your feet into the floor, lift your hips like you would for a bridge pose. We'll get to that another day. Take the block out of the way, and then maybe bring your knees into a chest, tucking your knees in. Maybe rock left to right. And I think that's what we'll cover for today. That's our basics for today. Those are poses that you will see in pretty much every class, whether it's Hatha, Vinyasa, I don't know, I don't do a lot of Bikram, but I don't know, in pretty much every class, but I hope that's helpful. Ask questions, things you couldn't see, things in the video that didn't make sense or that I was blocking if you couldn't see it, and we'll redo it. We got time, we got 2 more weeks. So have an awesome Sunday. Namaste, my friends.